Okay, so some odd things happen sometimes. Tuesday was a slog and I had a lot of difficulty getting through it, but today was not. I blasted through these squats like it was not difficult at all. And this is a new PR for me in terms of heaviest sets of squats for a 5x5. And I made it look relatively easy. There's not a whole lot of struggle in my sets. This first set felt great, and I figured out part of what my issue was going through on Tuesday. My stance was a little too wide because I was getting too like in my head about where I should be with it, and I wasn't able to properly activate my glutes and utilize them. And I think that's why my lower back was getting so inflamed because it's having to overcompensate for the lack of glute and hamstring activation on the way up, and especially in the catch at the bottom. So I pulled my feet just a little bit closer together, especially when I was doing my warm-up sets, just making sure I concentrate on that, try to find that perfect activation. And I found it and dug my feet in and then just blew through it. And there was no lower back inflammation, no lower back pain at all. This is all on the glute hams on the way up, especially that sticking point to where I utilize them to help give that little extra push and finish locking that weight out. And I know that squats are supposed to be quad dominant, and trust me, I'm very, very quad dominant. But I was able to, again, utilize every bit of my leg to do the exercise correctly. And I'm very happy with the results. I know that I was saying that 285 is probably my perceived max, and it definitely was. And I think part of going into that was me convincing myself that, hey, 285 is going to be it. You're only going to hit 285. You know, that's a shame. You could do better. And I forced myself into thinking that, hey, this is going to be it. But should it only be that? Should it only be that? Can you do more? I can definitely do more. 285 is going to be nothing. It's child's play. I can do 290. I can do 295, 300. So why don't you do it? And I convinced myself that this is not going to be difficult. Whereas I got in my head on Tuesday after I was starting to struggle with 280 almost right off the bat. And today I just convinced myself I'm going to just push straight through this. There's going to be no hesitation. And I'm going to just crush these reps. And I did. I I absolutely did that today. And I feel substantially better about how today went. I mean, clearly I would, because I was able to do these reps compared to Tuesday. And I definitely think, or well, rather, I know that I can go higher than this with how things went today. I have so much latent strength in my legs that I wasn't even properly utilizing. And I think it just came down to unsteadiness with my stance. And it's going to be a common theme where I'm surprised it took me this long to kind of really nail that down with what was causing me that discomfort in my squatting these past few sessions. And it's because my stance sucked. Going to the fifth set, I was a little tired. That actually first rep was a little shallow. That one was fine. And I just decided, hey, I'm going to push through this. I can finish all of these out without any issue. There's going to be no compromising in my technique. This fifth rep, I made sure to get just enough rest. That was right at parallel, so that's fine. I prefer going a little deeper, but I'll take what I can get to get this this max set done. So fantastic workout for me. Again, I'm very happy with how that went. Going into overhead press, this was a lot better than on Saturday. I didn't finish the full 5x5, which is fine. I didn't anticipate that I would, but I wanted to make sure I could beat the mark that I had set the other day. And I did, realistically. The other day I was only able to get one set complete, a couple reps on the second set, and then one or two reps on each subsequent set going forward in the third, fourth, and fifth sets. Today, however, I breezed through my first set. And then in my second set, I got 4 reps instead of 3. And then I think I got the fifth. I might have been a push press to finish that out. Let's see. Yeah, a slight push press to finish it out for the fifth rep, or for the fourth and fifth rep. So realistically, the same amount of reps actually. Now I'm looking at it, but going forward, I was able to do 3 reps on the 3rd, 4th, and 5th set, which I was not able to do on Saturday. I only had 1 to 2 reps per set that I was able to actually do as a strict press, whereas today it was just a very clean and easy 3 reps for the last 3 sets, and then I just finished out with a couple push presses, and that's good. That's progress. I think that if I were to do this again, I might be able to do 2 full sets and maybe get 4 reps in the 3rd set and slowly kind of build my strength up. But I think going into the next training block, I'm going to raise my weights by 2.5 pounds rather than 5 pounds, just because raising up by 5 pounds is a lot in terms of like percentage wise with this exercise for me, especially since it's a little weaker compared to others. And that's not necessarily to say it's worse. It's just that I don't focus on this as much. And I definitely am going to start adding in dedicated tricep work and bicep work on Sundays, where I can afford to kind of get away with an extra day of exercising. And I think that's going to help tremendously, because my triceps are definitely the point to where these overhead presses are sticking. And if I address that and add strength and muscle to my triceps, I think I'd be able to push a lot harder on the overhead presses. So right there, you can see right where it transitions over to the triceps, away from like the shoulder girdle, the exercise starts suffering a little bit. So I definitely need to just kind of increase strength in my triceps, and I think I'll be able to just blast through these weights to finish out. On this last rep right here, I did a little bit of a hold just to kind of feel that weight and hold it in place. Still wearing the wrist wrap on my right wrist as well. I don't know if I necessarily need to anymore. I did feel a little bit of a twinge while I was getting set up and doing my warm-up set, so I decided to go with it with the working sets today. Trap bar deadlifts, 335, another new PR for sets of or for heavy sets in a deadlift for a 5x5. This felt very good. I started getting tired towards the end, so I think I am definitely close to maxing out. I know I was thinking that it might be 235 as my estimated max, but 235 or 335 is my estimated max, but it might be higher than that. It might be 345 or 350, which is what I'm going to be kind of flirting with next month. So I'm going to push these up again and see where I land. And if I end up maxing out, then I know where my ceiling is and what I need to push against. And I might just kind of hover at 335 for a month and see what happens, or maybe 2 months, and just get this weight moving more and more easily until it's just a pedestrian weight for me. And I'm just kind of looking forward to seeing where everything ends up. Third set with this, I started feeling a little tired, but again, I'm still focusing on making sure that I break the weight first, wait a second, and then pull up, just because I know that I'm a little weak right in the initial pull. So I'm doing a little bit of a pause on these just to kind of give myself a little more strength in that position. And, you know, it's working. So it's just something that's become a feature of my trap bar deadlifts. Man, I am yawning a lot. I think one thing also that was kind of throwing me off too, my calf, my right calf, specifically on like the gastrocnemius, if I pronounce that right, but the main calf muscle was getting a little strained during my squats, and I think that may just be virtue of me changing my foot position just a little bit and putting a little bit more workload on the calf, whereas I was compensating by going heavier into the legs and the back instead. And so it was not too thrilled with having to accommodate that extra load. This fit set right here, definitely kind of a bit of struggle towards the end though. And I felt it. This was a little bit longer workout. I took 3 minutes of rest in between all my overhead press sets just to make sure I could get the most benefit as possible out of them. And so this workout ended up clocking in at like an hour and 15 minutes. One thing that was kind of interesting too is that actually when I was done, it induced a little bit of like tachycardia. And whenever I was bending over trying to get the weights off, I felt my heart rate just like start exploding up, and I could feel like every beat of my heart like shaking my chest, which I have not had happen from doing a workout like this. I've had it happen from doing like a heavy cardio day, but not from heavy weightlifting. So hopefully it's kind of a one-off thing. Took a hit on my inhaler, a couple hits on that just to kind of help open my lungs back up and calm down a little bit, and I kind of went away after that. So I think it's just a one-off thing, but it was kind of interesting to me to think like how hard I worked, and even just looking over my heart rate and everything, I never really got super high, and whenever it happened, my heart rate was only at like 140, which isn't that much for me. So I don't know. Outside of that, I'm feeling incredible about how today went with how easily I got through the squats, and especially the deadlifts. And I am going to continue pushing for the 290 on Saturday.